Okay, so I picked up this Herman Miller chair a little while ago, and I noticed that it wasn't, this was picked up used obviously, it wasn't necessarily sinking, but it's going to be really hard to show on camera. But the, we'll drop the seat down. You can see it's pretty easy to drop down, but the gas piston isn't returning it, so I'm bringing this guy up. It's not bringing itself up. And it takes quite a dip when you sit down in it. So I picked up a new gas cylinder from Amazon. Let's see, it's the Office Oasis. Now this one supposedly comes with a kit. It gives you these two rings. One of them holds fixed on the piston, one of them is a base, and allows you to use these screws to essentially press the top base off. The bottom base, you still gotta take a dead blow and knock it out, but it allows you to push the top of the piston out of the top part of the chair. So we get this unpacked and give it a shot. In the box, you get the new gas piston, those two rings I was talking about. Funny enough, they give you gloves and with two screws and the Allen key. So nice black piston, and the main piston shaft is also black, so that'll be pretty nice looking. Just a little bit of residual grease on for oil on here. Not sure. Hopefully there's not a leak or anything, but yeah, we'll get these rings off, get them on the chair, and see if they work as advertised for popping. There's a little unfortunate side effect of how they packaged it. Those rings kind of chewed up. Not really chewed up, but it took a little bit of the finish off. Not a big deal. It's not like this is supposed to be a cosmetic item. And it looks like that's just assembly lube, or the lube, so this thing doesn't squeak coming up and down. So let's go ahead and get the chair. So we've got the rings kind of getting positioned here. You want to leave the bottom one loose so it can move. This is the one that stays fixed, locks onto the piston here, and then drives this guy down. So one thing you want to avoid is these collars are both identical, so make sure that you don't run these threads into the corresponding holes in the bottom one. Keep it offset kind of like this. We'll go ahead and tighten that guy down and then start screwing these down incrementally. Hopefully this bites and stays on and we'll get it popped off. Okay, so I gotta say, on a different type of chair, I tried to remove one of these pistons before, and I had to pound the crap out of the chair frame to get it out. This thing, very little effort, and it came right out. So that could be my experience with this particular chair, but that tool works absolutely fantastic. So now we've got to take this base and drive the piston out from the bottom. What I'll probably end up doing is putting this directly on a block of some kind, set it down, elevate it, and use my rubber mallet, pound it from here, trying to hold it and drive it out from the bottom side. Isn't terribly effective, so we're gonna give that a go next. So I apologize, I have pretty poor light out here. It's nighttime, but you can see what I'm doing here. I'm putting this piston up on the block. Keep your casters off the ground. You may want to take them off. And I'm gonna tap it around the splines here, or the legs, and try to drive this guy down so it frees it up. There it is. You can kind of still hear it resonating. Hear that? I'll stop it. And the last whack, it's still resonating. It's kind of cool. So we got it out. Just give it, you can see where I was whacking it with a rubber mallet. You gotta give it some pretty solid hits. The casters ended up falling off as I was hitting it anyway. But there we go. We're going to go ahead and install the new system. Here we are. We have the piston off. Slide the new piston in. That's one thing I noticed right away. This guy, now it's going to sink somewhat under compression, but it doesn't sink nearly as low, so I'm hoping it won't drag, kind of like the stock one did. Here's one thing to point out. Take off this little cap. This is the plunger for compressing and extending it. Now, I'm pretty sure, see that little pin in there? I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to adjust that, because that's cable actuated to this guy right here. Oops. So I'm gonna have to pop this cover, I believe, and bring that guy back, because this is sitting quite a bit higher than the original one. So we'll have to adjust that, or it'll just force this in compression and it'll always sink and seem like it's broken. So something to keep in mind. the bottom frame, or the bottom coat, whatever you want to call it, the bottom portion of the chair. Put the piston in. Look at that. Came right up. Let's see. We're gonna go ahead and sit down in it. It's actually holding, so I may not need to adjust that. If I do, I will make another video. But right now, I don't need to adjust it. And here's one thing to point out. Now I can't just easily with one hand compress it. I got to put my knee into it. It comes right back up. And I sit down and again, it doesn't sag. So yeah, 30 bucks. Comes with this cool tool. And then, you know, we could probably see if they sell the piston along without the tool, maybe for a little bit cheaper, but it's a great deal. It makes it super easy. Just make sure you have a rubber mallet and a block to knock off the this lower support on the frame, or on the chair. It's eluding me right now. It's kind of late. But yeah, look, I've sat on it a couple times. It's not fully compressed yet, I'm sure, but this doesn't drag. The Herman Miller original piston was actually in the carpet. Like, it was probably, it wasn't digging in, but it was running right across the top of the carpet strands. So this one, it's already, can tell it's got me a little more height, and it doesn't sag. So maybe I'll put my desk back to where I had it originally. Anyway, like I said, if I need to adjust this this actuation by getting to, it's right in here. There's a screw right here. You need to take a small screwdriver. I prefer a plastic pry tool. Pop this guy up, and you can get into the top and adjust it.